Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tony from Tony Flyin Solo. Guys, it's been a while. I haven't done a Tony Flyin Solo in a while. It's been, I had to take a break. I had to kind of refresh everything and kind of think about my thoughts. I got married. I bought a house. It's been great, man. But I'm kind of settling down right now, as most people do after all that stuff happens. And I thought no better person to invite as a guest for the first Tony Flyin Solo back would be Don Carrara, master of 80s. What's up, buddies? What's going on?
How we doing? I just want to say happy National Carrot Cake Day to all of your audience out there. We should go grab a piece later.
Fucking carrot cake. What? Hey, actually, that's pretty. That actually doesn't. It doesn't. It's not weird because I myself am a redhead, so people would call me, Carrot Top.
Yeah.
So hey, national. It's a day for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so guys, I'm glad to have Don with us. I'm glad that you guys are listening. If you haven't listened in a while, because I haven't done shit, then welcome back. And hey, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is the Tony Flyin Solo Show where we talk about what I want and, have guests on from time to time. Sometimes it's just me. Anyway, so today, rather than kind of doing 80s or 90s, what we've usually done, what we want to do is Don and I are just going to talk about all the stupid shit that we have been through and all our dumb experiences because there's just too many of them. They're actually really funny stuff that most of you guys would actually probably find funny.
There is so much stuff. This might even be longer than Schindler's List.
Oh, Jesus. That's actually a good way to start it off.
Wow.
This describes our sense of humor, guys. So if you didn't like that joke, then fucking sign off. Anyway, dude, let's just start with probably the biggest one. And I think the biggest one right off the bat is just going to be how we met. Like, how did we actually meet up? I'm going to let you tell the story because you seem to have a better recollection than I do. So.
Well, I actually think I first remembered meeting you when our friend Lenny was directing a show. It was Memoirs of a Video Store Madman, I think.
Okay.
I think that was like 2002, and you were at the audition. Or no, the first Kung Fu Babies.
Oh, Kung Fu Babies,
I remember you at the audition.
Yeah, these are weird titles.
Yeah, we're not making this up. But that's where I actually remembered meeting you. We might have even, did an audition together. But the core of, I think, when we really got to know one another, of course, and start the friendship was 2004.
Okay.
When I asked you to come out and audition for a play I was directing called Talk Radio by the great Eric Bogosian.
Awesome.
It was great. I thought you'd be great for it in some capacity, and I was trying to surround myself with good people. It was the first show I directed, and you said you'd be there. I gave you a part, and that's what started off all of these memories. And there are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
We did a lot of shows together too.
We've done a ton of shows, man. I think the reason, though, that why it started was you said you were hanging out with a friend of ours, Charles, and you guys used to kind of look for ghosts and shit, do ghost hunting. And he was like, hey, talk to Tony Emerald. Like, he's huge into that. And then you kind of hit me up on AIM.
I was thinking about that. It was AIM. It was definitely AIM.
It was totally
right?
AIM, dude.
Yeah.
And you were like, hey, what up? Heard you in the ghost hunting. And that's kind of how it stemmed, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think we started I think it was after I had cast the show, but before we started rehearsals. And then we just kind of started just hanging out every night. I'm like, this is a cool friendship.
Yeah.
When I really didn't have any responsibilities, you didn't have it. It was like a great time in our lives.
Yeah.
But, things change and it's all good. It's great now. We wouldn't change anything for the world. But we went scoping out a lot of different places.
Oh my God, you've been everywhere.
You knew a lot. I didn't even know half of these places. Anawan Rock and the Hornbine School.
The Hornbine School.
Where we think we actually encountered something there.
Yeah.
Many years ago. We'll get into that later. And was another couple other places. That graveyard that we went with Jim.
Oh my God!
I had the flashlight that wound up. It was like, it was like, oh, dude,
don't make that noise. But anyway,
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, and it was a lot of random nights just kind of driving through Rehoboth, which is Rehoboth, Massachusetts is actually one of the most haunted places in Massachusetts, and you can find random graveyards and stuff like that. So those are some of the reasons why we're just kind of driving. And the roads are like, they're back roads, like country roads. So they're all like windy and creepy as shit. You need to have your high beams on all the time.
Very remote.
Yeah, very remote. So if your car breaks down, like you're probably going to get raped. But like, you know, it was one of those places where we were like, hey, I have gas and my car's running fine. We should be good. So it was, you know, it was an interesting time. It was fun. You know, we got to see a lot of like cool, different, you know, weird places. Like we went to Mercy Brown's grave and stuff like that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And what's cool about doing all that too is, you know, we found out our mutual love for this, and you know, where our minds playing tricks on us, because we went to some creepy places that, you know, did we see something? Did you guys see that? There was also the what was this place in Exeter? The Lad Center.
Oh, the Lad School.
Where
yeah,
I almost
dude.
fell down into
God.
that. And I think you saved me from falling in. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, it was the hole.
That was
it was like a hole, yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff in Rhode Island and definitely the Massachusetts, and we should go out and do that stuff like in the summer again.
I don't even know if I have the bravery anymore.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? I feel like once you do it after a while, you kind of like your adrenaline kind of like, you know, levels out. But like I haven't done that in a while, man. I'd be freaked out. But anyway, I think probably one of the cool stories that we want to get into. So you're a teacher, and you know, you basically you know, asked me one year, you're like, hey, I got to go down to Texas for this like training or whatever. And, you know, do you want to go? And I was like, and literally it was just kind of weird. Like we were, I think, chatting on AIM, and he asked me to go to Texas, you know, and I was like, all right, man. Like, you know, he's like, I already got a room. He's like, you know, all you got to buy is the plane ticket and spending money. And I'm like, all right, man, like I'm on college break. Like I'm down. Like, so I literally bought a plane ticket and like went out, and it was funny. So the funny thing about this whole thing is that, of course, the first time I ever go to Texas, right, there's a friggin' ice storm. So we ended up, I think, did we have a connection? We had a connection. It was in like Philly, right?
Or Detroit. I think it was Detroit.
One of those, yeah. Because
Yep.
we debated actually going and like running to the Rocky statue and then like seeing if we could make it back.
Then. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So what? But so we get our connection, and then we finally fly in, and like it gets to the point where like the plane, the pilot comes on. He's like, "Hey, everybody." He's like, we tried to land at the Dallas airport. No, we couldn't do that due to the weather. So we're going to circle around again. And so like we circle around again, and that's like 20 minutes. I don't know why it takes that long to circle around, but he's like, hey, we cannot still land at the Dallas airport. They had not given us clearance because of the weather. He's like, we're going to circle around again. And so we circle around again. And then he comes on like 20 minutes later. He's like, we still can't land at Dallas. And I look at Don and go, yo, we're going to want our fucking gas. Like
we're just going to float up here in the fucking stratosphere.
Like we need to fucking land somewhere. So we finally land at Wichita Falls, which is like, it's like the fucking crack of the ass that any place you'd ever want to be. It's gross.
Yeah, it was just, you know, kind of an airport where they would probably have like a lot of prop planes. And I remember when the you know, I think it was one of the flight attendants came out and they said, oh, we have to land in Wichita Falls. And the guy next to me goes, Kansas? It's like, no, you dumbass. Not in Wichita. Yeah, we went from Texas and we circled 20 minutes in the air and made it into Dorothy's country.
What a dumbass.
But yeah, what an interesting experience, because you actually prepared. You actually had a winter jacket. I had a leather jacket without a liner in it.
I didn't prepare, man. I just left the house with the jacket I had on. I mean, God was on my side that time. Oh. That jacket smelled like ass though, because like we hit rain at some point, and then I put it into the like cubby in the plane. And then it sat there for like fucking 3 hours. And then I took it out. It smelled like a fucking dog slept on it. It was gross, man. So it was always horrible.
Would I be able to share what happened next?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when we landed in the airport, you know, initially they didn't want to give us transportation to a hotel. Nobody knew what was going on, and we kind of were given some, you know, problems to this poor guy who was probably just pulled out of bed to come in there and help. And I felt bad. I apologize. That's not me on any level, but it was irritating. You know, there were parents with babies and all that. So initially they weren't going to do anything, and then they actually bust us over to, I don't know, it was like a Econo
It was
Lodge
a
or
Days
something.
Inn or something.
Or Days Inn. And, you know, we had to pay, and I knew we'd get reimbursed burst because it
awful
wasn't the
hotel.
hotel we were supposed to stay in.
Awful.
I was awful. Why was it awful, Tony?
It was
Because what did we
awful.
discover when we were in that room?
So basically, I walk into the room. I'm like, hey, let's get some food because that's normal, right? Like we haven't eaten in like 12 hours. So I think the only thing I had was like those shitty pretzels they give out. So on the plane, and so and they were trying to I feel like they were trying to kind of like make us forget how long it's been. Like have some more pretzels. It's not even. That's not. Don't even just eat something. So. So anyway, but we finally order a pizza, and it took like an hour and a half to get there because it was like a fucking ice storm. So they finally get there, and we put the food on top of the microwave. And as I'm opening the pizza, I look behind the pizza box, behind the microwave on the wall, and there's a fucking cockroach. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yo,
It
look
was like
at
the
this.
size of a rat, bro.
Oh, it was gross, dude. So I smashed it. What did I say when I smashed it? I was like, yeah, it's dead.
Yeah.
Something.
And then I think didn't I get one too? I was like, I got him, bro.
Yeah, I got him, bro. but then I was like, oh, that's all we need is more food in here. You know what I mean? So, but we ate. I checked my bed for roaches because like awful. But like, dude, in the bed sounded like, dude, I honestly think this bed was. They took these like fucking frames from World War II like buildings. I think that's what it was because you would lay in this bed. It was like you can't make a sound. It was awful. Like if I breathed, it made a squeaky noise.
And that was the best that we could get at the time.
At the time.
Where we were out in Wichita Falls, which was, I want to say, about 2 hours away from Fort Worth, which was our destination to get me to this conference, which I was supposed to be at. At the time, we were sleeping in the cockroach-infested, AIDS-infested, pizza-smelling, squeaky bed spring room.
Days in.
Yeah, days in. And
It's a list, bro.
interestingly enough, there were a couple women who were also on their way to the conference, and they were staying with us. So we decided we'd all hitch like some type of a taxi or a service the next day, along with I think there was another woman with us, 5 of us, and we would just split it. And it turns out one of those women was actually in my like cohort.
Yeah.
For the training. So 2 hours away, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's actually 3 hours from Dallas, but it took us
about 3 hours.
It took us about 7.
7. Yeah.
7 hours.
So I missed the initial evening, training and all that. I missed half of the day, and I got there, and the woman who was running it like gave me a hug, and I'm like, oh, they're never going to make me work. And this other woman, and they did.
Yeah. Awful.
After driving, but it was like you when you see a Mountie ride up on the highway, this is not good.
Well, the other thing, I said to like totally, but the funny thing about that was that like, dude, I was listening to my iPod and I had my headphones and I had my head down on the seat in front of me. I'm not listening to this woman because I just don't want to hear it anymore. And as I look to my left, I see a guy on a horse, come on the highway, and I'm thinking to myself, why is he moving faster than I am? and I'm like, I'm in a fucking van. He's on a fucking horse.
But our driver was pretty cool.
Yeah, he had no teeth.
Nope. I remember his name.
What was his name?
Bobby Chandler.
Bobby Chandler.
He must have stepped outside of that van
about 14 times.
Oh my God, to smoke a cigarette.
I have a cigarette
on the highway. I think he was like, we only have one snowmobile in Texas and they lost the key.
He was funny though.
He was good. I mean, at least, it was only in Texas.
Only in Texas.
And I love meeting people. I love meeting people I would normally probably never see where I am in Rhode Island. Yeah. And that made it worth it. I was really trying to kind of think, all right, the glass is half full.
Yeah.
It could be a lot worse. It's a first world problem. At least we're safe.
Well, the funny thing about all this is that like we end up we go to Texas though in Martin Luther King Day. So when we actually when we finally got there and got to our hotel, we decided, hey, let's ride in to town, and I was like, I want to get a Texas.
Well, it was a
hat.
Sunday night because I ended up basically telling College Board who put us up, I'll leave on Monday. So we actually had the next day.
Yeah.
So the conference was done on Sunday day.
Yeah.
So we're like, we had a game plan, man. We're going right into Fort Worth. And why don't you tell the listeners that little journey we had?
Yeah, it was great. So let's go into Fort Worth, and so basically we didn't have a car because that's smart. So we're like, we'll find our way in. That's easy. So we took a fucking
it was a subway in.
It was like a subway in. Then we took a fucking bus that I don't know where the hell that was going. I don't think the driver knew where he was going. And then
the bus.
Yeah, like I'm seeing like the city of Dallas. I'm really worried because I don't even know what state we're in. And then finally, we took a fucking train, and we had to use Sacagawea dollars. So we used those to get in, and then finally, I was just like, fuck, I don't know where the fuck we are. So the guy's like, oh, if you walk straight 0.2 miles, you hit Billy Bob's. And Billy Bob's is the world's largest honky-tonk. There's a lot of cool stuff. They have great bands. And we're walking through this. So first of all, we get off the bus, right? And you take a step off the bus, and it looks like a set for a movie. Like, no one's around. I'm like, well, this is weird. So, but we get off the bus. But the best part about getting off the bus is that I took a left. I was like, what's that building? And I walk over there and I take a step, right? The bus is like, all right, see you guys later. And so he leaves, and then Don decides to walk forward. Unbeknownst to Don, there's a huge patch of fucking ice in front of him that he slips on. He's like, wow! And he lands right on his back, hits his fucking head, gets up, and he goes, oh, God! And he's like,
it was the worst. Like, it can't get any worse. Everything like that materialized that night into just disaster, right?
But the best part about all this is that, like, I was legit concerned when he fell, but when he got up, I could not stop laughing. like it's one of those moments where, like, are you okay? Like one of those things, like, holy shit, you took a fall.
You helped me up, and then there was immediate laughter right now.
Oh, right, yeah, but you were like, like, we made this joke because he bought, like, some fucking things, and when he got back to the hotel, he found out that when he fell, he landed on one of his fucking trinkets that he bought.
Two of them.
You broke both of them?
It was the horse, which I was able to glue, and a shot glass, which completely shattered, and I got it. I got it again when I went back the second time, but I'm like, of course.
Oh.
And then, you slip on the ice, and, you helped me up, you laughed. We both had a laugh, and we're on our way, like you said, to get the hats, and the store is closed because it's a Sunday night, right? Or a Monday night. Maybe it's Monday. We're like, okay, this stinks.
And then we get to Billy Bob's, and it's fucking closed.
It was actually like an old school ghost town.
It really was. Like, no one was there, MLK Day, and honestly, the only saving grace in this whole place was what?
Cattleman's, buddy.
Cattleman's
Steakhouse.
Steakhouse.
So interesting that, prior to getting on this, like, the train to go into, the actual downtown, I heard some guy talking about Cattleman's. Not to me. He was just talking to some random person. So when we got there, I said, look, I heard this guy talking about this. It was definitely open, a lot of activity. And we got in there. It was honestly like we walked across a tundra for days. We were so hungry. God. We ate everything in sight. It was like some type of shrimp, I think, appetizer. Mm-hmm. Probably the best. I think it is the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Texas. I mean, dude, it was literally the stockyard. So I think they had just killed the cow. It was literally a ribeye steak rolled in peppercorns. It was so fucking good.
With Jack Daniels on there.
So good,
the potatoes, dude. Everything. And it was just, it was a great way because, like, we had so much disaster and we were just able to relax and have a good time, find some laughs. And that's kind of like the relationship. We see the good things even in the bad. It always ends up happening. And then there were cats on the way out, so you love that.
Oh, my God, there were cats. Yeah. The other thing, too, in an ice storm, the weird thing, and Red's over there listening to the podcast. He loves it. So he's asleep. Anyway, he doesn't give a fuck. But the best part about this whole story is that everything comes full circle because a year later, Don got invited to go on the same, conference, the same place.
5 months
after. 5 months. And I was like, I'm going, man. Like, let's go. And we went. It was warm. There was no ice storm. Everything went smoothly. And it was almost like everything fell into place because we finally did get into Texas. And this is the best part. So our ultimate goal the first time was to get to Billy Bob's. Let's check this place out. And I wanted to get a hat, like a cowboy hat. That's it. So we go into this place. It's hot as fuck in Texas, but I was like, I'm not going to fight this because last time was just shit show. So we get in there. I have a guy make a hat for me, and he literally like professionally molds it. And then we told him the whole story about last time we were here and the shit we went through. And he's like, I remember that ice storm. Holy shit. And then he was like, I don't remember if he said that, but that's what I think he said. And then he was like, I was like, well, he's like, take this receipt. He's like, take this receipt, or he gave us free tickets to the rodeo. Yeah. So we go down to the rodeo. It's the oldest rodeo in America. We go in there, we watch this rodeo, which was awesome because it was like legit a rodeo. And then the guy comes on the loudspeaker, he's like, you have tickets to the rodeo to not only, those tickets are going to be free entry to Billy Bob's. We were like, what the fuck?
Unbelievable. Yeah. Like, honestly, it was a direct opposite of the last time. And we, even before, like, and I know our story's long, but this is the longest probably story because it's so
Yeah, it is.
comprehensive. We had some good appetizers in, like at some bar, you get to walk around the streets with that.
Yeah. Everything was open.
Got our hats made, saw the rodeo, like I said, went over to Billy Bob's, and we definitely need to talk about what happened at Billy Bob's.
Oh, yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, so we go to Billy Bob's. This band called No Justice playing, and they were awesome. They're like a rock country band. I bought their CDs and everything. You guys can find them on Apple Music. They're up there on iTunes. No Justice. They're awesome. There's a song called Bend It Don't Break. That's my favorite one. But anyway, look them up. But we ended up kind of able to sneak our way into this concert. And then fast forward, they were filming it for a DVD. And then later down the road, I ended up we met the band after, which was so random. And then I went online and I ordered their DVD. And then we went through the DVD when I got it, and Don and I are in the fucking band photos. And we're in the concert photos.
That's so awesome.
I'm wearing we're both wearing cowboy hats, and we're like, woo, totally not from Texas.
We made our way to the front of the stage. I have no idea how we did
got
that.
To the front of the stage.
And it was so interesting because I had to technically be at a class the next morning.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dude, when are we ever going to do this again? I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, fuck it.
We got to go do it. And they were incredible. And that's the second time we were there because we rented the car, which I'm so glad you did.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
That's when I really fell in love with country music.
Yeah.
I really was not big into it. And I listened to country music.
Well, that's when we first found out Big and Rich, man.
Yeah,
it's not technically a country, but we heard them for the first time. The song called "Rollin',"
and it was just Texas was awesome, and even the first time, with Cattleman's, even though
and when we were there, because we had the car, we were able to go to the JFK, see the grassy knoll.
Yeah,
we saw where JFK was shot. That was really cool. I stand on the X's.
That's that was such a cool experience. I'm glad you actually got to go with me the second time too, because I'm like, we have to make up
for the first time.
The first time, and it was warmer and. We didn't have to deal with ice storms and all of that stuff. So good. That was a great time. Man.
It was awesome. And honestly, that's the longest segment you'll hear about, everything, because Texas was kind of like a 2-year adventure. But, we've also been to a couple other places. Those of you guys who know Don and I know that we are big movie buffs. So we're huge Jaws fans. And we decided one year to go to JawsFest on Martha's Vineyard, which is actually only about, I'd say, it's about maybe an hour away from here. And then, you take a ferry out from Cape Cod to Martha's Vineyard, maybe about 30 minutes?
Yeah, something like
so,
that.
It's an hour and a half away. It involves a ferry ride, but whatever. But, so talk about Martha's Vineyard and the stuff that happened. It was a great trip.
Well, I remember, I think you had gone out there earlier with Becca, and I think you had some friends out there, and you came back with the JawsFest cards. And I had no idea what this was, and you're like, we got to go. So, I made arrangements, and that was the year my first daughter was born.
Yeah.
So I worked some things out, and it was great, and my wife was awesome, and we went out for 2 days. And we really didn't know what the hell we were doing. When we got out there, it was just kind of my first. I had never been to Martha's Vineyard. That was my first time. So we just kind of got the lay of the land, walking around. I think we took a bus ride in some places, and we were trying to see some of the places, locations from Jaws, and the center of town. And I think we pulled that up on our phones, and we went into the store where Brody drops the paintbrushes, and it looks completely different, but from the outside, same type of facade. And some of the people from the movie were there. It was Carl Gottlieb, the writer, Susan Backlany, the Chrissy at the beginning. It was the deputy, and Joe Alves, the guy who designed
the shark,
designed the shark,
who directed Jaws 3.
Yeah, and they were just kind of chirp, chirp.
Yeah.
But
in his defense, he said that the actual cut never made it out, but whatever.
Yeah, and it probably didn't. It's lovable in its own right.
It is.
But they were out in some kind of out in this open field, and there was a big screen behind them, and they were showing some stuff after that. So it was kind of really an intimate, informal type of meeting. We met Joe Alves.
It was actually the last JawsFest they ever did there. Because they haven't done it again.
Anymore,
No,
right?
they haven't done it again.
Oh, and we met Greg Nicotero. Before, I think
that was so random, too.
So random.
So Greg Nicotero, if you guys don't know, Greg Nicotero has done all the shit for The Walking Dead. He's the main guy who does all the makeup. He's on Talking Dead all the time.
And I loved his work, from Dusk Till Dawn, and I loved The Mist.
Oh my
and I knew he was going to be out there, but
he was
supposed to be signing autographs and meeting people after we were going to leave. And just by happenstance, we walked into this place where there was a replica of Quint and Brody and Hooper and the Orca and Ben Gardner's head, and walking in there, and there's Greg Nicotero. We almost bumped into him.
Yeah.
And we had 5-10 minute conversation with him. We got a picture with him, and he is a super nice guy. And it was, I think, before The Walking Dead, or maybe right around the time it was coming on. But that was so cool too. Really, I could never live on an island, but man, that was fun.
It was, man. And a lot of the people on Martha's Vineyard, some of these people have never even left the island. And, they've lived there their whole lives. And it's kind of crazy to me to actually think that that's a possibility. You don't ever want to see New York or California or whatever. But, they just live on the island. They stay there. And it's crazy because, a lot of the stuff on that island that we ran into was kind of funny. I mean, we went to the Black Dog, which is probably one of the biggest restaurants. I mean, if you ever see anybody walking around with a T-shirt with just a Black Dog on it, it's the Black Dog Tavern, which is the main one is on Martha's Vineyard. And, they don't – you forget that Martha's Vineyard is actually a dry town, because we walked in and we were like, hey, is there a way for us to sit at the bar and grab a drink? And they were like, we don't serve drinks here. And I was like, you don't have a bar? And they were like, oh, no, we're a dry restaurant. I'm like, oh.
I forgot about that. That's
right.
So
we couldn't get drinks. We had to we literally had to go down to another restaurant, grab drinks, come back, eat there. I don't think we even ate there. I think we went to what the hell's the name of that place?
We did
something Wharf something.
We had the dinner at I think we might have went there tried to go there for lunch or something. And then we went over and we sat up on some type of high deck.
Oh,
above the water,
like a deck.
And we had a couple drinks there. And then I think we went over to the Black Dog to have some food. And that's when we discovered they also didn't have alcohol. Which was interesting.
And then, but we went to that other place. It was Wharf something.
Oh, it was the one run by Jeffrey Voorhees, who played
Alex Kintner.
Alex Kintner. Yeah.
So Alex Kintner in Jaws is the kid who gets eaten by the shark at the beach in the most gruesome scene. He actually works as a manager there.
Yeah.
And we saw him running out food, and we were just thinking of weird things we could say to him, if we were gonna meet him. You had one, you're like, yo, what if he drops off his food? And you said something about his hands being pruned. What are you gonna say?
I'd be like, Alex Kintner, your hands are all pruned.
Because that's what she says to him when he comes up on the
fucking
beach.
Hated me.
Oh,
and we
probably.
kept trying to come back to see if he could. I think we bought the Jaws log. We bought the Jaws log and see if he could sign it. But we kept missing him. Yeah. And it was he just left to go walk his dog at home. And that was so cool about the town. He could probably walk to his home.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. I actually want to take my family there.
Yeah.
Because Michelle's never been.
Oh, it's a great time.
We're gonna see maybe we can take the kids out there for just a day. But yeah, we loved it. Second day, weather was a little bit.
Oh yeah, well you could tell that when we were on the ferry. That's one of your favorite.
One of my favorite Tony. When Tony is irritated about something, and he knows when I'm irritated about something too. It's very similar. And going over to the Vineyard the second day, because you want to make as much as you can out of it. You only have 2 days here, and as we're drifting across the water here, we're slowly drifting into darkness. And I Tony. And I just kind of nodded, and I looked up at the sky. I just kind of gave a nod up to the sky, and and he looked up at the sky. I'm going to try to recreate this. He looked up at the sky, just looked at it with just utter disgust, and went. It was just and we somehow managed to make it through the most of the day.
Yeah.
And then it downpoured right as we were about to try to get ourselves to the ferry. And then it was really choppy on the way.
The sea was angry that day, my friends.
It's autism. But at least we got back the right way, because remember the first night we went back and we took a different trajectory back to the island, and we ended up, the guy's you're on the other side of Cape Cod or something.
Yeah, seriously. No, we were on this dude, we were on a fucking a freight that carries planes. I was like, how the fuck did we end up here?
You had it up on your app, on the phone, on the GPS. I'm like,
I'm reading the Jaws log, dude, about Dreyfus hating what's his name, Robert Shaw, and then all of a sudden this guy goes. He's like, where are you heading? I was like, well, I like how everybody's from Texas. He's like, where are you heading? I was like, well, we're going over to back to back to Cape Cod. He's like, Cape Cod? Where were you? And I was like, well, we were on Martha's Vineyard. We took a wrong turn. He goes, wrong turn, all right. Fuck you. Fuck you, bro. I'm not from here. I just want to get home and get away from your scary ass. But anyway,
it was a good time.
It was a good time.
It really was.
Another great moment. And you can explain this no better than me. Okay. Probably better, actually. We were in the Providence Place Mall going to see a movie, and something happened where like something slammed in the background, and I'll let you kind of take that.
Well, this is the nature of our relationship. We just take things that nobody would ever think funny with us, and you guys might not either. But this is just us, and we remember quotes. And we're at the urinals and we're talking. I think you were talking about you were doing 27 dresses.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about the experience, like of being in the hotel and the read through. And I was like, oh, how was it? And it was great. I got to talk with a lot of the actors, and they had all this stuff. They had Nutri-Grain bars and they had water, and then you heard a toilet seat go boom, and you go, and you're like, just without missing a beat, you're like, Jesus. And then you went right back into and it's so fucking dumb.
It is.
No one would probably think it was funny if they weren't there, but that's the stuff we laugh at. And it's the stuff I love, because I can't say that I have that with many of my other friends. Right. Just these dumb little moments, little quips, and you'll even say, like, how do you still remember that? And I do the same thing at like stuff I say, don't know how you remember it, but it's those little things I think in life, like the looking up at the sky of this Vineyard. We're gonna get into the list. I can't wait for that.
Let's talk about the list. Talk about the list.
The
list is ridiculous. So the list stemmed from when we went to Comic Con the first time ever. So we go to Rhode Island Comic Con, this was the second year we went. It was a fucking shit show.
Yeah,
right?
What a difference! And I want to just quickly talk up Rhode Island Comic Con. It is become huge for our state.
Oh my God,
I mean, so much that it takes up 2 buildings, and that's awesome because it's really put our little state on the map, and they've gotten some big, like, celebrities to come here. It's not just kind of people who, we would kind of list in like the C range actors, not even B range, but C. This is like A-list people, and I would say like high B.
Oh yeah,
pretty interesting. But yeah, go ahead.
So I guess what happened was, and the funny thing is that like. So this is something that Don picked up on because he's an English teacher and like is wicked critical on people's grammar.
Not really.
No, he is. So but I mean, like it's fun when I text him because I don't realize that I do these things and he points them out. And so he pointed out something that I did once, and it all stemmed from, like I said, Rhode Island Comic Con, where he calls it the list. And basically, when I text people, I think in thoughts. I think in like small segments. And when we left, he was like, I think I should get like my ticket back. Like I want to get a refund, because a lot of people are getting refunds because of how much of a debacle it was. And I was like, and he's like, well, what should I say? And Don, what did I say? What was my text?
I think it was I couldn't compose myself. This is the origin of that. You're like, just tell him, no parking, fire hazard, smells like ass, can't move. I think it was one more.
I put smells like ass often.
Can't move. Fire hazard, no parking, long line.
Food was too expensive.
Food's too expensive. It was just like a barrage of fucking problems.
But the funny, it's like you would never see bullet points. It's literally like when I text him, I'm like, he's like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? I was like, yo, we should probably record a podcast, period. We should probably get food, period. What time are the movies, period. Like I just think in fucking thoughts, and then I send it to him, and I don't realize it's a list that I wrote him. And so like
it's a huge list.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
We love it.
So that's where the list stemmed from. But, great. So of course, I said, like, turn off your speakers and stuff and your cell phones, but my wife calls me through the computer and that still rings. Anyway, but let's take a look. So I'm taking a look at this list that we have. Oh, it's another list of the stuff so, all right, let's talk about the Hornbine School because we mentioned it earlier. Talk about the Hornbine School, like talk about what that is.
Well, it's that one-room schoolhouse, and, supposedly it's a haunted place that, we had one teacher in there, maybe about, 15, 16 kids or so. And the thing about the Hornbine School is that supposedly if you go up there and you look through the window, you might be able to see the teacher teaching the classroom of kids. Interestingly enough, I was telling my 5-year-old daughter about this last night. She wanted to hear my ghost stories. I don't know why. And
that's creepy.
Well, and I told her about like our experience that one time we were. And
you
had
told her about that?
I did. I know.
How's she gonna have nightmares?
She didn't though. She was actually asking really insightful questions after that, and I'll bring her in to this. But I don't know. We had visited there multiple times.
Like insightful questions. What did you hear, Daddy?
Well, I told her what we heard.
Creepy
And, driving away from the Hornbine school.
She wasn't scared by this?
No, she was asking about, when we were driving away that time, and it was quiet. I don't think you had the music on, and we just heard the, huh.
Like, huh.
And we both looked at each other, completely legit, 100% honest here. And, of course, you try to use logic and rationale saying it had to be something else. But really, I mean, I think it was something. And she was asking me about that last night. Who do you think it was? And I said, I don't know. She's like, it sounds like a baby. Maybe it was a baby. She's like, maybe it was a little kid. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. We're going to get into discussions. Why the little kid die? All this shit. We didn't, luckily. But what was interesting about that is, it doesn't look haunted. I mean, everything looks worse at night.
The funny thing is that there was a guy that I was talking to at work the other day.
Yeah.
And he's from Rehoboth. And I swear to you, I can't believe I've fucking forgotten like a couple weeks to tell you about this. Dude, he lives on Hornbine Road.
Yeah.
And like legit. And I was like, hey, so you live on Hornbine Road? He was like, yeah. I was like, in Rehoboth? Yeah. I was like, all right. I was like, you know about the Hornbine school? He goes, yeah, I know about it. And he goes, I said, hey, I was like, me and one of my buddies used to actually, we used to go there, and like I heard it's haunted. He goes, I go, well, is it haunted? I don't know why I put an R on that. I go, is it haunted? And he goes, well, I don't know if it's haunted. He goes, I've been living there for years. I've never I was like, well, I've read a lot of stuff online, which if you read stuff on the internet, sir, it's apparently true.
Yeah.
And I said, it said that, people walk by at night, like walking their dogs, and they hear like a class in session. I was like, if you walk up to the, window, you can see like a teacher in like a school in session. And he was like, and he was kind of like cool about it. He was like, I've never heard that. He goes, but I've heard rumors that some people have heard things. He goes, but I haven't been one of those people. And I was like, all right. And so when he walked out, he was kind of it was funny. Like I laughed, but like he was a cool guy, but if you didn't get his sense of humor, he'd be a dick about it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I was like, have a good one. He's like, all right. He's like, have a good one. He's like, have fun at the Hornbine school. like he was kind of like, but he laughed, and I kind of gave him like a thumbs up. But it was funny, because a lot of our jokes and a lot of our like memories come back to that stupid Hornbine school that we went to. But we heard shit that night,
and it's so creepy out, and it's kind of like almost like a cul-de-sac around it. Not a cul-de-sac; it goes into another road, but the road almost widens in front of it, probably because it used to be that working school. Mm-hmm. But it's like out in Texas Chainsaw Massacre country, It
really is, man. Yeah,
and that's the other thing too with.
Well, we always drove by that truck that reminded us of Breakdown with Kurt Russell.
But you don't want to go hunting for these things in the daytime. You want to be there at night. That's kind of part of it. It's like, ooh, am I going to get caught? Oh, am I going to see something?
We always heard that weird bird in the background. Like, and every time we're there, we hear that bird? Okay.
But,
at night?
We believe in it. And we've done the Providence Ghost Tour. Remember the picture I took? You thought there was something in that?
Oh, there's something definitely there.
And, but are our minds conditioned to look for stuff? Because we're also very rational people. So I love how we believe in it, but we immediately dismiss if it's anything. No, it has to be something else. Like it has to be a problem with the flash or, what we heard in the sound. Maybe it was actually the radio that we had up, but, nevertheless, I believe in it. I think there's some cool stuff out there. And definitely some good stories that we've been able to share.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, dude, we've had so many stories, and I hope people are enjoying these. One of the ones that I really want to touch into, which I think is notable, is that you and I have been doing theater for years.
Yep.
Right? I mean, well over a decade we've been doing theater. And I think it's interesting that, that's one of the first ways that we actually got to know each other was theater. Like we didn't judge each other. We were probably at the time both very shitty actors that became better over time. I'm just kidding. We had a great time, man. And we did a show called 10 Little Indians, which was funny because we found this place. It was like an hour away. We didn't get to actually get in there until maybe like a week before. We had to build our own set. We had to do our own like guerrilla marketing. We really had to go out there and
the set. Remember,
transport the set with a busted U-Haul with no AC, which we're listening to No Justice because we heard it in Texas, full circle. But like it was a very shitty like literally just like bare bones, kind of like, let's get the show going, right? The show was awesome and people loved it. And it was in the course of Westerly, which if they're listening but totally are not, were to ever hear this, we would love to come back and do a show. They wanted us to come back the following summer because we brought in sales for them and we did a great show. But it was just great because it was really a lot of fun, and one of the stories that I remember, and I'm going to take a risk here and see if people find this funny or not, but our friend Jim doesn't give a fuck about anything and takes chances. And he had this. Do you think I should go with this, or do you think I should skip it?
Yeah, because I was hoping. I mean, it's funny because we don't have these views.
No, okay.
It's just Jim's humor.
Okay, it's Jim's humor, and a lot of you people, whatever, who cares? I don't give a shit. So it was funny as shit. So we're talking to the person, or we're talking amongst ourselves about like if we should actually like do this show here. Like, oh my god, like so they had these huge white curtains hanging, right? And I'm looking at these. I'm like, how the fuck are we going to get those things down? Right. And they had this like genie. It's like a thing that it's like a thing you stand up in. And I brought my fucking redheaded ass up to the fucking ceiling to take these things down. I was scared as shit because I'm not a big fan of heights. But anyway, so we get up to the top. We're there talking. And I was like, we got to get these sheets down. This is crazy. And all of a sudden I look at Don. I go, yo, where the fuck is Jim? And all of a sudden, like, we see the sheets start to move, like the white sheets start to move, and Jim goes, oh, I'm the largest Klan member you've ever seen. and we fucking lost it. Because I was like, what the fuck? Like, who would think of that shit ever?
No one
and it's so dumb because Jim is not racist and none of us are. No. But I mean, it was just like so unexpected. Like, it goes from not knowing where the fuck this kid is to him shaking the sheets and pretending he's a Klan member for 3 seconds to make us laugh. And it was so fucking funny. And to this day, it's one of those things that we always make, bust his balls about. But
I had actually forgotten about that maybe like a year or two ago. And I think, and I just remembered it randomly and I busted out loud. I think it was by myself.
Yeah.
And I wish like somebody was there. And then I think when we all hung out, I brought that up because it was so on point of humor. We needed it. I think it was the day we were putting the set up.
It was a fucking
And
horrible.
it's tech, it's tough, but again, good experience out in Westerly.
Right.
It was one of our many shows. I would like to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird, though.
But we have to stay on this for 1 second. Because,
okay, yeah, please go ahead.
Because we worked with somebody that a lot of people may actually know who he is now. So if you guys,
yes.
So
twice in To Kill a Mockingbird as well.
So I've worked with him multiple times because of Rick and the birthday party.
I directed him in talk radio. Right. Great dude.
So in Rhode Island College, I met a friend of mine, and his name was Kevin Delaney. And Kevin Delaney, actually, super cool guy. Like, I'm so glad that he's doing like well for himself and killing it. He's been on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He is the guy who does all the science stuff. He's got the big beard. He's awesome. And so if you look up like Kevin Delaney, the Tonight Show, you'll see all the shit he's done.
Street Magic, isn't that the show he's doing now?
Something like that.
Not Street Magic, Street Science.
Street Science, yeah. But it's on Sci-Fi, right? Or
I think it's Discovery.
I'm sorry, Discovery.
Discovery Channel.
But he's a super nice guy. He's mega smart. And it's just great to see that he's, on Jimmy Fallon doing science stuff. But he did theater with us for years, and I love the guy to death. And he's an awesome actor. Like probably one of the best. I went to the American College Theater Festival with Kevin, and we got the finals out of 550 people. We made it to the last 14 finalists, and this kid, and honestly, like we just had great chemistry, and he was awesome, and I owe half of that to Kevin. He was a phenomenal guy.
Was that for Mockingbird, and he was your partner, or?
Well, I got nominated for Mockingbird, and that's when I went.
You brought him?
I brought him, and he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he's great.
So, but anyway, I mean, like we did, we decided that it would be a good idea to do a day show. At the course of Westerly. And Don, describe why that didn't go as planned.
Well, they had these really large, almost cathedral-type windows, stained glass, and they actually had boards that fit them perfectly. They had, 20 boards for every friggin' window.
Yeah.
And I even saw them. I was like, oh, those are the boards. And we never put them up. So,
but that's like a half a day to put them up.
Yeah. I mean, we could have at least put maybe a few. I don't know. We didn't really think this through. And in the day show, there's a scene where there's a character and he gets shot. and the lights are going out, and the lights went out, but everybody could see what was happening. So, here, and this is Kevin, and he's putting on the wig. Because, as the actor, he's supposed to do that. You're not supposed to see him doing it. But he's doing it because, you don't have a stagehand to help. So he's doing it himself. So they're watching him do this. And there he is with putting the fake blood, putting the wig on. And then when we're exiting, there he is walking right behind us to fucking get out. But what makes it more interesting is that he's really, as the character, faking his death because he's the killer of the show. So that, I'm like, what are the odds? Because, everybody knows as an audience when they see him dead, they think he's dead. And they probably know as the actor, he did all the makeup because it's fast. But it broke, I think, the illusion of the fact when he comes out later in the daytime.
He's the killer.
So we had to restage that the whole time. And it's just like one of those experiences where we had been doing stuff for a while. Everybody in there was professional. Everybody was on point. But you just didn't think of the bigger picture. And it was a learning experience. And it worked. But I remember Kevin being a little perturbed by that.
He was, yeah.
So, we
didn't think about it. And neither, and
no one did.
In our defense, neither did he. We didn't think about it until the moment of, oh, shit, people can see this. It's awful. But let's move on. Let's move on.
It's all good. To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Go for it, man.
One of my favorite books. I teach it every year to my sophomores.
Love it.
And, when I was back at school, I was going for my teaching degree, and I had done a few shows. I actually had I had done better shows, I think, when I went back the second time. I think because I probably knew more, and I wasn't going to do anything else. I think I Hate Hamlet was it for me. I think that was or Equus, whatever was that last one I did. And Tony actually said, no, you got to come out and audition for this.
Yeah, dude.
So I found two monologues that I was able to memorize one, and the other one was like a letter, so I was able to read from it. And, our director wasn't going to really challenge it. I, tried to internalize it. And I got cast as Mr. Gilmer. Tony got cast as Atticus, did a phenomenal job.
Sit down, Horace.
Yeah, we got to work together.
That was his character's name, Horace.
Mr. Gilmer, yeah. Great stuff. And the
great.
Well, the courtroom scene is such a defining moment in the story. And what a dick.
No, it's just funny. You're like, yeah, great.
It is great. No, because that was such a great scene. And I remember one of our fellow actors, we were having some, the show wasn't fully coming together yet. And one of our fellow actors watching us do that scene, I think it was when we were off book. And he goes, I had some reservations about the show, but after watching this scene with you guys, he goes, it's reinstated my faith in it. And it was so great. Because
said that?
I think it was Chris Rosenquist said that to us.
Cool.
But, it was a nice validation. I don't need to be validated, but it's such a defining moment of the book, of the film. I show that part to my students. We don't even read that part. We watch the whole trial scene.
Yeah.
And I think from an adaptation standpoint, it was one of the most powerful moments in the play and the most accurate. Now, with that being said, we, of course, had to have a little fun during the scene. And, during rehearsals, we did the arrows where, you go... And
oh my
God. You have to pull a fake arrow out of your neck.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And we were laughing when Dr. Taylor's like, Mike Truby getting so gavel happy up there.
Yeah. But it was basically Mike Truby behind me going like 50 arrows, and I have to be like, yeah, so anyway, tell me about why you think you were convicted. Like I had to pull these 50 arrows out of my back. Oh my God. So good.
I remember talking to Tom Robinson, and then I was like, he goes, and then I think, didn't he go, stop? Ryan Mendoza.
Who did?
He was like, stop. But we were making our own fun through because, man, we needed it.
Oh, God.
But that was one of my most
memorable
shows.
Can I just say one thing? I think my favorite Don moment in fucking To Kill a Mockingbird. So, yeah, Dr. Jimmy Taylor, he was telling us, giving us notes at the end of one of our rehearsals in the space, and he was like, so I have a question. So what exactly are we going to do for the scene where you have to come up with a lantern? So we be using that, so we have a light there. And Don was like, well, and so we were going back and forth, and Don was like, and I was like, well, we should have a light there, right? And then I was like, oh, I can carry in a lantern. And he was like,
it's the scene where you're watching, you're protecting Tom in the jail.
Exactly, protecting Tom in the jail, right? And he's like, well, I think I think you should bring in a lantern. He's like, well, maybe we could have a light there too. And then Don goes, yeah. He goes, so what the fuck is he going to do? Is he going to walk over to the light and be like, watching Tom Robertson every night? And he pulls the fucking thing. Like, basically, like, it's a bullshit commercial in Rhode Island where this lady's like, what does she fucking say in the commercial?
Oh, God, I don't even remember.
It's something, but she says something every, and then she pulls the cord and shuts off the light, and she goes, night.
Yeah.
And so he was like,
totally forgot about that.
Watching Tom Robinson every night. And I fucking lost it. And it was the funniest shit.
That was a big hit amongst the cast.
Oh, it was great. Dude, people laughed their ass off. And then he's like, yeah, I think it'd be best if you carried it in a lantern, because that shit ain't gonna fly here.
I didn't even know if you knew the commercial.
Oh, it was great, dude. So funny. Well, Taylor laughed. He was like, that's a good one. So,
why didn't you tell everybody what we did on, like, I don't know, it was opening night or the second night, what I did?
Oh yeah. So he decided to be a dickhead, and I literally walked over to my briefcase, and we've told this in one of the podcasts before, but I opened up my briefcase. I always used to check my shit because I'm professional before I go out there to make sure I have everything. And on top of my yellow legal pad was this fucking, looked like a used condom. It was just fucking slob all over the place. I'm like, oh, this is fucking gross. And at the time, I was a mild hypochondriac, which Don didn't know, so it made it worse. I was like, oh my God, there's a fucking condom here. I'm gonna get AIDS. Like, I was freaking out, right? So I was like, is this used? Is it not used? I gotta go on stage. What am I gonna do? So I look over.
I may have added some like special effects to it to make it look
I think you did. So, because no like regular condom has that much jizz on it. So it looked like fucking you like poured a bottle of Vaseline on it. Like, it looked like fucking Peter North used it. So anyway, I was like, so basically, I went over to the stage manager and I said, hey, there's a fucking condom here. Like, what do I do about this? So she's like, oh, that's gross. She's like, rip it out. So I ripped it out and I tossed it. I was like, oh, this is, and it was like, dude, there was so much fucking lube on it that it went through 4 pages of legal pad. So I had to rip off 4 pages and I literally threw it in the trash. And then fucking Don Carrara, asshole, comes over and he's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, I was like, I don't know, man. Somebody put a fucking condom in my briefcase. And he goes, it's kind of fucked up. But he had like a toothpick in his mouth and he was being all like cocky and shit. I'm like, yeah, it does suck. And then he started laughing. I'm like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. And so I took it out and I was like, all right, fine. Now I know it's like he was fucking with me. But dude, I swear to this fucking day, if I had gone out there and opened my briefcase and that shit was in there, I probably would have fucked up. And
that was not my intention.
No, I know.
That was not. I would have felt honestly bad. I would have saved your ass.
Yeah, but you also said like I think you would have been able to handle it.
I think you would have too.
Yeah.
But I would have felt so bad that I would have done anything I could to get us back on track.
Yeah.
Because again, that was not my intention. We like to fuck with each other, but never to the point where we want to fuck up somebody's performance.
Yeah, and that was the thing. And the funny thing is that like we incorporated it into the show because then we went up to Mike Truppi, who was the judge, and there's a moment where the narrator talks, but like Atticus, the other attorney, Mr. Gilmer, and me and the judge, we all have like a private conversation, and like he's like, yeah, Dr. was like, just have yourself a conversation, make comments yourself so people know you're talking. He's like, it's fine, and we want to hear that is be the narrator. So I was like, all right, cool. And I know he sounds like a ladies' man, but he does. So anyway, So basically, we were improvising, and I went up to the judge, and the judge was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "He put a condom in my briefcase, Judge." And he's like, and True was like, "I put a condom. Oh my God!" And I was like, yeah, so fucking stupid.
I don't know what I said.
Yeah, and you just started laughing, and then I was like, blah 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 blah, and I was like, we took it. I was all good to go, and all of a sudden, like, I walked back to my state, and we were in character, condom in my briefcase, Judge. So it was bullshit, But it was funny, it was one of those moments we look back on. But I did get him back because years later we did Kung Fu Babies. Don was playing a character called Mr. Ace, and he had to pull out a desk drawer and pull out something. And I, ahead of time, printed out a very old woman, naked, grossest moment of my life, in color. And she was spread eagle, visions, think about it. And then I put that in there, color, and then I grabbed a fucking a Magnum condom, and I put some fucking lube on it. So it was right on the fucking, mid area. And he opened the drawer, and I was in the back playing a security guard, so I could see his expression. Now, whether you want to fucking admit it or not, I got your ass. Because you would usually open the door and went, boom, boom, and grabbed what you wanted and closed the door, right? Closed the desk drawer. And this time you went, and then you went, and he shut the desk drawer, and I was like, ha, got him. And so it was one of those moments where I was like,
multiple years in the making.
Oh, it was so good. I was like, payback, motherfucker. So, but I got him back because whether he knows it or not, he had like a single moment of disgust, which got him. But
it was good times. Good times.
Oh man.
Good times.
So, well, we have a couple more moments we could get to. We don't want to go too over here because I know you guys. We keep this to an hour. We're running about 56 minutes. But dude, let's talk about a couple things. We got like 3 other things I want to cover. So Don and I are big music fans. As everybody is. Asking somebody if they like music is being like, hey, do you like sex? Of course you do. So everybody has their own type of music. We, like everything, and we've gone to see bands like Slaughter, but one of the
Big and Rich.
Oh, Big and Rich, dude, awesome. One, Jesus Christ.
Huey Lewis.
We've seen Huey Lewis, but we've also seen Sting. We've also seen Dave Matthews Band. We've also seen what else at Comcast? Bon Jovi, Peter Gabriel.
We've seen Bon Jovi like 3 times.
3 times.
He's coming back this year. I think he's on a new tour.
We should go.
Go do it,
dude. So we've seen a lot of different artists, and we love music. But Huey Lewis is a big fan of ours. What? No, we are a big fan of. He is. He listens to this podcast every time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Huey.
Tag him in it.
Yeah. No, we are a big fan of his because he doesn't know the fuck this podcast is anyway. But no. So we are a big fan of his, and we went to see him at Twin River Casino. Which just got their license to actually have real games 2 years ago.
24/7, right?
Yeah. So we were there and we saw him, and Don had a little too much to drink, and for that reason, it turned it into a great night.
It was an understatement.
And the best part about this whole thing is that I was, let's skip that for a second. Don, what happened? Recap.
I have one of those yard, friggin' Twin River glasses that lit up.
Yeah.
And I usually drink beer. I usually don't drink mixed drinks. I'm drinking one now.
Yeah.
I'm not averse to them. I just don't, it's not my preference. But I'll have them. And that's what I was having that night. I might have even gone in between beers and that.
Yeah, you
and
did.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
So I think it was like we were so amped up. I was dancing. You saw that. And,
that was funny as shit.
Me dancing, forget it. But it was when we sat down in the audience, that's when I felt it. It was towards the end of the concert. I was like, oh my God.
We sat down in the audience?
We sat down because the Twin River.
Oh, yeah. Who cares?
So that's when I was feeling it. And then we went out to get something to eat, and I was, I was out of it. I kind of did a boot and rally. Oh, I booted, but I still didn't rally. I was hurting.
Yeah.
And then I think after we ate, I was feeling a little bit better. But man, it's amazing. Like, I never would have thought I'd be fucking drunk at a Huey Lewis in the News concert. Slaughter, maybe.
Oh, we were pretty at Slaughter, and we shared a drink with one of the fucking guitar players.
Strum.
Yeah, but to this day we don't have an STD. It's great.
It's good.
Yeah.
And we got some guitar picks out of it. But it was. But you'd think that we'd be a little bit more like at that. But Huey Lewis, it was kind of like this just open environment.
Yeah,
it's like
was.
this big auditorium, but you could kind of stand, but you could sit if you want.
Yeah.
And I think we actually had seats, but we just decided to stand in the aisle. Like fucking idiots. But
no, because we got closer to the stage.
We did,
bro.
We did, and it was a great concert because we were talking about going to see him.
Yeah.
I saw him at the long ago at Warwick Musical Theater.
Right.
Which is now defunct and I think is like a Lowe's and a fucking Denny's and Mexican restaurant all in one. But we were talking about going to see him for a while, and then we were finally able to do it. It was like in July, I think. It was an awesome time. I do remember most of it.
It was a great time.
But I wish I was...
Well,
see, you have that last drink,
right? And the best part of it was that, so the bartender was giving us drinks, and he was literally refilling us drinks, and he was like, I was like, oh, do you like Huey Lewis in the News? And he was like, oh, I was like, I don't listen to, much, Huey Lewis. I don't know. He's like, they're okay. He's like, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, what do I think? I was like. And I was literally, at the time, I didn't really, I was just quoting lines from American Psycho, and Don was the only one who was in on it. And so I literally I was repeating this line over and over again, and I'm going to see if I can try to remember it. I was like, Huey's new work was a little too wave from me. I was like, but when Sports came out in '83, that's when they really came into their own commercially and artistically. And I kept repeating this line
And
over
no
and over
one's
again.
ever going to know it.
No, and no one knows.
No one has that Rolodex of movie quote
No,
knowledge.
dude, and I fucking nailed it because people were like, holy shit, this guy's like a legit
He's
fan.
well-versed in Huey Lewis.
He's well-versed. And Huey Lewis, what a fucking unique skill. So,
And I think he likes Val Kilmer. Told you I was going to get him in, bro.
oh, dude, another thing we share is the love for Val Kilmer,
We
dude.
love Val Kilmer.
Dude, I love Val Kilmer.
Got
Recently,
to get him on the show. That's like...
dude, if Val Kilmer ever came on the show, I would be hard the whole time. I'm not going to lie. Val Kilmer, it's not because I'm into him. It's not because I'm like, but Val Kilmer's a G. Hey, Val Kilmer, if you're listening, which the odds are not in our favor, please reach out, man. I'd love to have you on the podcast. I'll fly to you, man, because I know you're not coming here. But anyway.
Imagine if he did, though.
I'd be sick, dude. I'd put him up for a night. Seriously, cook his breakfast. Val Kilmer style. I'd make pancakes that look like his face. I'd be into
my
it.
God.
I'm telling you, bro. Seriously. I mean, hey, it's a Val Kilmer pancake. It's got a plane next to it. Hey, dude, my opening music is fucking Top Gun. He knows what's up. Anyway.
I'm going to make these sausages look like Mad Mardigan.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you. It sucks, though, because I was worried, man. Like when you see him in, like, shitty shape, you're like, all right, like, maybe he had surgery. He got his shit taken care of. Now he's in remission. He's going to do well. But at one point, I mean, like, dude, he was severely overweight. Like, it was to the point where I was like, he's unrecognizable. Like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he was.
He was pretty big.
Oh, dude, he was a wicked fat dude. I'm telling you. Hey, guys, honestly, check out pictures of Val Kilmer like 2 years ago. He was so heavy, but he's honestly come back to a normal weight, but it might not be for the right reasons. Anyway, but let's finish this up. So we got about 2 more things to talk about, and these are things that Don and I have actually been a part of. So how many of you have actually seen The Fighter? I have. Have you seen The Fighter, Don?
I have.
Okay, so talk to me about The Fighter, Don. What was that experience?
The Fighter was filmed in Lowell, Massachusetts, in some type of Lowell, some type of gym, I guess.
It was like a civic center, like a place where you go to see a concert.
Yeah, and and it was about 150 degrees inside.
It sucked.
Now they were filming that, and you had Mark Wahlberg in there, and the person he was fighting, and they're going through the motions. Amy Adams was there, and
Christian Bale,
Tony's man crush, Christian.
Oh, he's so fucking cool.
Bale.
Yep.
And we were playing, just people at the fight, and we were initially out. Like, we get ourselves to the front of everything. We were initially out in the stands.
With mannequins.
With mannequins, yeah. It was fucking creepy as fuck.
They did that, guys.
We got ourselves down onto the floor to be part of this, the fans out there. And then we were in another area where, we had to be cheering, but we couldn't really make noise, but we had to throw our arms up, and I think they were going to add the sound afterwards.
So with no movie, it sounds like...
Yeah, it's wicked awkward. And then they set up, I guess they were going to have them walk down to the ring, and they wanted everybody who was there early in the morning. Now, Tony and I were not there in the morning, but we lined up as if we were. And then they decided they were going to scrap that scene. But Christian Bale ended up walking down.
Awesome.
And shook everybody's hand, including ours. It was awesome. And, he looked much different from Batman, was definitely jaundiced because he was the heroin addict.
He was losing a ton of weight, as usual.
But it was so cool.
But he also, dude, he was super cool because, I didn't know if he was... So I didn't even know that, I was going to be able to see him. I was looking for him, and Dom's like, yo, Christian Bale's coming up behind you. I was like, what? What are you talking about? I turn around, and, he's walking towards me. I'm like, I got to meet this guy. So I stick my hand out. He walks over to me, shakes my hand. He's like... and he, everybody knows he's British. He's like, thanks a lot, guys, for coming out. Appreciate it. And, shook my hand. I was like, holy shit, I just fucking met Batman. It's literally what I said. And Don was like, holy shit. And Christian Bale is still and was at that time my idol. I look up to him as an actor. I think he's severely committed. He takes his body to extremes. He's an awesome actor. And I called everybody that I knew that I met Christian Bale because they knew how obsessed I am. And dude... You were psyched for me, and you were super psyched too.
Well, it was awesome because, he was a big actor at the time. That was, right after the whole issue with, when he flipped out on the set. But, I'm going to just attest to what we saw, and he was very pleasant.
Super nice guy, man.
Very nice guy. So that I can't speak to what happened there. Who knows if he was having a bad day or whatever. But
And he even said too, like at the end of our filming, he got on the mic and he was like, I know it's been a long day for you guys to come out here. I know you've been out here for some of you 2 days. I just want to thank you for your time. This movie is something that we're all very excited about, and we thank you for your support. You all did an awesome job, and thank you for coming out. And it was just like, I feel like maybe he was trying to kind of make up for the stupid shit that he did, but at the same time, it was interesting enough for me to kind of be like, okay, awesome, man. Like, that guy's cool. Like, he was nice to me, and that's all I can go by.
And he couldn't have felt good about what happened on that. He definitely knows that went on way too long.
Yeah.
We don't know what kind of a day
Nobody knew somebody was recording it.
No, and that's the other thing, too, and you put it out there, and it's just... And that's how he gets labeled, and, that's not our experience with him. So that's why I take what people say about celebrities with a grain of salt. Until you actually have that experience yourself and be like, hey, that person was pleasant to me, so I don't have anything bad to say.
Exactly. So I one more thing that we want to bring up, and then I have a segment that I'm just going to throw in, and then we're done with this. So basically, one other thing that we've done is we worked on Brotherhood, which is on Showtime. A lot of people don't know about Brotherhood. Because it's an older show that got canceled, which speaks volumes about it. But I mean, it was actually not a bad show. It just didn't do too well on Showtime. But Don and I had the ability to work on that. And Don, how did I get involved with that? How did that happen?
I got a call from the LDI casting because I had my headshot and resume in there, and they said, "Do you want to be interested in doing some extra work on Brotherhood down near like the Federal Hill area?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I called you and said, "Hey, I got this. You should just come down with me."
I had class. Yep. I didn't go.
I had work at the restaurant, and I called out. And, they didn't question. You came down. We got to be in this scene, just walking down the street, the backpack with the water.
With the water bottle.
Yeah. But that was, I think that pilot was filmed in, it was the year before we, graduated from college. It was 2000, the fall of 2004, and I don't think it came on until summer of 2006.
Yeah.
So it was filmed and then picked up, but it was, Jason Clarke, who's done, he was in, The Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He was in The Great Gatsby.
Yep.
He did Zero Dark 30, and Jason Isaacs, who was in, the Harry Potter, bunch of the Harry Potter films. The Patriot. And, we got to meet some of those guys, and we got to ride in the van over to lunch with Jason Clarke. We didn't know who he was. I hadn't seen him in anything. That was,
but he was sitting right next to me.
Right next to me.
I was like, "Oh, how's it going?" He's like, "Oh, great." He's Australian. He's like, "Oh, whatever." I just need to get something to eat. He was super cool.
Yep.
And then he asked us at one point if we had a light because he was smoking cigarettes.
Yes,
you guys have a light?
And then we met him again at the premiere, and we got a picture with him. And when they actually showed the premiere episode at, I think it was at Vets.
It's the Avon.
Oh, the Avon. That's right. And it was just cool because, that was the first, I think, show to be filmed in Rhode Island.
Right.
And it lasted 3 seasons. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But
no, that other show Providence, but it did it was shitty.
Oh yeah. I don't even know if they filmed all of that here. I think they did some.
It was partly, and then some most was in LA.
But that's what I liked about Brotherhood. They were filming on location. They used they didn't make it a fictional town. They said Providence. It was filmed in Providence. They used Providence within the series, and I thought that was really neat.
And Ethan Embry was in it too.
Yeah.
Ethan Embry. You guys want to know about my experience with Ethan Embry? Go on RedBeard Podcast YouTube and look up my. It's called Celebrities WTF. Look up my experience with him. It's interesting. And Cooley has a really cool experience with Robert Kirkman, who wrote The Walking Dead. So check that out.
Interesting.
So Don, last thing I want to do before we close out this podcast is so there's a game that I play with Cooley often called Would You Rather. Okay. And I would like to actually play it with you.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and then you could ask me 5, and I'm going to give you the phone, and you could basically ask me questions.
Okay.
So here are the 5 questions for you.
All right.
Okay? So, would you rather I'm going to come up with a good one here. There's 5. Would you rather be a pro pilot, or would you rather be a pro captain?
I'll take pro pilot.
Okay. And what's your reasoning behind that?
Fewer responsibilities.
All right.
I had to think about it for a sec because Captain sounded intriguing. But
68% of people agree with you.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Would you rather be a first class and get unlimited choices, or would you rather be a second class and only have limited choices?
First class with multiple or second with limited?
So first class with unlimited and second class with limited, which is pretty much the way it is now.
Yeah, I think I want to go first class.
First class,
absolutely.
Yeah, all right. All right, I agree with you. Okay, so next question. Here we go. Would you rather go to Hogwarts and still be a muggle, or live in a world with Pokemon but only be able to catch Magikarps?
Hogwarts is a muggle without a doubt. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan.
All right, Hogwarts it is. All right, here we go. Would you rather be a boss to a regular company or be an employee at a company that will most likely make millions?
Employee at a company that would most likely make millions.
All right, even though like as a boss you probably will like make more though.
Depending on the company.
It
could tank. I'd rather be at that one where I could potentially grow into a role and still make a ton of money.
Okay. All right. That's cool. All right. Let's see. I got all right. Would you rather let 2 spiders go into your ear or be stuck in a snake pit for 10 hours?
Spiders in the ear.
Really?
Yep.
For like really? 2 spiders will go in your ear?
Yeah, then be in a snake pit for 10 hours, I'm all set. I'm not a huge fan of snakes.
But what if like the spider can't come out though?
I'll fucking go to the hospital then.
Dude, 42% of people, well, 52% of people agree with you. Okay.
Wow, so that's okay.
Yeah, you're
good.
All right, so you can either, if you think these questions are good, you can just like tap the field and it will tell you, or you can hit skip and go to the next question. You got 5 questions from me. You can either skip that one at the bottom, go to the next, or just ask me that one.
Okay. That's interesting. Did you see this one already?
No, I didn't read it.
Would you rather get away with everything but be bullied, or get away with nothing and be the bully?
I would say the latter. I'm going to go with the latter on that one.
Get away with nothing and be the bully.
Yeah, why not? You know, hey, it's less pressure.
18% of the people agree with you.
Of course,
okay?
All right.
Oh boy, I'm going to skip that one.
No, ask me. No, please. Ask
my
me.
God.
No,
Are
just
you
do
serious?
it. Yeah, do it. No.
Really? There's no going back from this.
No, it all goes.
Would you rather fuck your mom or get raped by dad?
Oh God. I'm going to pass.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do.
No, dude, but you got to at least hear it.
All
like
right.
you can't say it now, but I'm going to pass.
This is a dumb one. Would you be an internet troll or would you rather be a noob?
A noob?
Yeah, like a
internet
newbie.
troll, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's
72% agree with you.
all right,
That's
so
good.
we're going into
That's
question
smart.
3 here.
Would you rather be Kenny from South Park or Kyle from South Park?
I'm going to say Kyle because I think he survives a little bit more.
Yeah, 59% of the people agree.
All right.
Would you rather be the best but everybody hate you or be dumb but everyone likes you?
I'm going to say like be the worst but everybody like what is it like
Be dumb but everybody likes you.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Because I feel like the other one like you're too like wait a minute, be the best but everybody hates you?
Yeah, or be dumb but everybody likes you.
Be the best but everybody hates you.
All right.
Fuck it.
29% of the people agree with you.
All right, I'm going to take one more anyway.
All right, here we
Let's
go.
do it.
Would you rather be a boy or would you rather be a girl?
I'm going to go with a boy.
All right.
Because that's what I am and I love it.
Good. 65% of the people agree.
Even girls.
Should
All
we
right.
do one more question, though, just for fun?
Just for fun, let's
All
do
right,
it.
Here we go. Well, it gave me a picture crossword with cats sleeping. Hold on. It's an ad. It's an ad. I got to fucking
Dude, when
click
you
out
go
of.
with one more, it always it's like when you give a fucking mouse a crumb, it wants a cookie, right? Is that what it is?
Would you rather ask a question or get a shitty crossword puzzle ad?
Yeah, I'll
Let's see.
take.
Gonna
well,
click X.
yo, Red doesn't care.
Oh,
'cause
here
he's
we go.
fucking
This is a
sleeping.
good one to end with. Would you rather meet Walt Disney or Jim Henson?
Oh shit. I'm gonna go with Meet Walt Disney because I feel like he's had a longer effect.
87% of the people agree. So you can go and see his frozen head.
And like, I'm not a big fan of the Muppets. Like, as much people are gonna hate me for saying that, I don't give a shit about Muppets. So anyway, Hey guys, that was actually, just kind of like a little bit of a recap of just some of the experiences that Don and I have had. Hopefully you found some of them funny. If you're still listening, thank you so much. We would love to hear your comments, suggestions for, future Tony Flyin Solos. Other than that, we will, like I said, with Cooley, we're going to be going to TerraCon. Don is going to be coming. He's our, photographer, so he takes some great pictures, and we'll be able to post those for you. But other than that, you never know, Don. We might actually have a part 2 of this because we have so many experiences that need to be touched upon. I think we only hit half of them. So to those of you listening, hey. Happy Carrot Cake Day, as Don
and also
says.
the day the music died day, everybody.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's so depressing. Anyway, all right, well, we will catch you guys soon on Tony Flyin Solo, and we'll see you later.